All right, we're going to go ahead and walk through some of the integration pieces. If we're doing these manually from within Ready, we're going to talk to those processes. We're going to talk to three specifically. The first one is getting employee data from UKG Ready over to Sage. So this will be an export, and I'll show you all these fields in just a moment. And then the next two are the job data coming from Sage to UKG. Job name, number, status, phase, whatever data you want to bring over. I'll show you how that works. And then this one is the UKG data going over to Sage 100 for payroll. So this is exporting that time data, pushing that over to Sage. And we'll walk through all three of these. To make it nice and easy for you here, I put them under a tab called Import Export. And I've labeled these exporting the time data. So we'll talk to that one. Here's the demographics of the employees, and then here's importing the data from Sage. So the first one, export time data. This is at the end of the pay cycle. I'd come in and click here, and this is our timesheet. So we're going to grab this, hit the Create Payroll Interface file. Now, depending upon the version of Sage you're using, are you using their visual integrator or not, you might use a DBF or you might use a CSV file. So I've got both of them in there for example. But to do this, all I would do is select, in this case, we're going to use the Sage 100 export, come over here, hit the export button. I'm going to let this run in real time for us. This is about 60 employees, so we'll see it run here in a second. And now that I've done that, I would right click on this file, do save as, and then drop that into a folder. Because what I'm going to do at this point then is in Sage, I'm going to go import that into the system. So that's all there is to that. If I was using CSV, process is exactly the same. I just come over here, hit the export, it creates that file. And again, we'll let all this run in real time, but then the data is ready to be imported in. And I just right click here and do the save link as and drop it into wherever I want that data to go. So that's the first option there, creating that output for Sage for payroll. The second is our employee demographic data. And what I've done here is this data here, I've mimicked that in here and put everything in the order it was listed and everything. All I would do is come up to this ellipsis, hit the export. The default is CSV. If it needed to be Excel or another format, you could do that. But I just come in, export that. Same thing here. It saves it. Now I've got that employee information output, and I would go into Sage and import that data into the system. I did want to just point out that there is the ability to schedule this to run automatically. And we can send this to specific delivery destinations, including someone's email, or if we want to drop it in a folder, an SFTP site, we could do that. And all you do is go in and tell it, hey, send it over at 6 a.m. every day. Or if you wanted to send it multiple times a day, you could go in and say, hey, send it every hour starting at 6 a.m. and run that till 6 at night or whatever you wanted to do there. And then just tell it never expires and it'll just run forever. So we do have the manual, just click, export, or we could schedule it so it just runs automatically. Then the last piece is importing the job data in. So this, I'm going to pull up our template here just so we can see an example. On our end, we've got something called trees, and trees are like jobs or phases or departments or whatever data you're storing in Sage. This is just a way of telling the system where it's going in our system. So in this case, I've got a job and something called 2000 test job. Then I've got a column over here called visible. I like to think of that more like active or inactive. So if the job is visible or if it's active, that would be a yes. If it's not, it's a no. And that determines whether or not people can charge hours to that job. So I've got my 2000 test job here, and then I just click here, choose the file. In this case, I've just created a folder for the import, hit open, and import. Then when it's done, it'll tell me if there were any problems. If there's no problems, I'm just good to go. And I can actually go in and view the data in my, on our end, it's under what we call cost centers. So here's jobs and phases and locations and whatever you might have. And then I can just view the data right in here. So here's that 2000 test job, and it's visible. I did want to point out too, we could bring in a lot more information around the job numbers, we could add other codes. The whole experience is tailored to your exact needs. So I just wanted to give you a simple example here so you can see how that works.